apologies. Hi. All right, good morning, Chair and distinguished committee members. Thank you so much for this opportunity to address you this morning. My name is Aziza Butler. I am a homeschooler. I am also a former Chicago Public Schools teacher. I am the next generation leader at Ambassador Church, and I'm a resident of the South Side of Chicago. And I'm also the founder of We School, which is a flexible schedule learning community for homeschooling families. But most importantly, I'm a mother who loves my children. I came today because I want to express my strong opposition to House Bill 2827. What really breaks my heart about this bill is that it's based on the underlying assumption that education cannot work without legislators and district bureaucrats and school administrators. But the reality is that education cannot work without parents. This is not just a homeschool issue. This is an issue with our broader education system. Too often, we do not trust parents to take the lead in their children's education, especially when those parents are Black and brown, and especially when those parents are poor. This bill targets homeschool parents and treats us as criminals, guilty until proven innocent. This issue is deeply personal to me. My foremothers were forcibly separated from their children as a result of their own enslavement. So the opportunity to hold my children close, to nurture and love them, and to do everything in my power to give them the best education possible honors the legacy of Black mothers who came before me. It pains me to think that the state of Illinois would get in the way of that. The proponents of this legislation say that these new regulations will somehow protect children from abuse and neglect, but unfortunately, this approach is completely misguided. Research supports the idea that homeschooling environments may reduce the risk of abuse. Dr. Brian Ray's research indicates that children who are homeschooled are 40% less likely to die from abuse or neglect compared to the national average. This could be attributed to the closer family bonds and the higher level of parental supervision that homeschooling entails. At the same time, research from Psychology Today highlights the persistent issue of educator sexual misconduct in public schools, stating that 1 out of 10 public schools students experience sexual abuse. There is no credible study that suggests that homeschool children are at any higher risk of abuse than their publicly schooled peers. Let me be clear, this bill will not decrease cases of abuse. None of the regulations proposed in the bill would do anything to reduce instances of abuse. Collecting forms, collecting data, requiring added oversight of curriculum, while all of these will place unnecessary burdens on well-meaning homeschool families, none of the added processes will do anything to curb abuse. We must not ignore the reality that there are already child protection laws in place requiring the reporting of abuse cases, laws that apply just as equally within the home or the school. While we cannot clearly see how the bill will accomplish its stated goal of preventing abuse, it would certainly have many unintended negative consequences for homeschooling families and for local school districts and communities. Black families like my own are choosing to homeschool in larger and larger numbers each year. The public schools are failing our children, and homeschool represents a much better alternative. In 2024, only 31% of Illinois public high school students met or exceeded proficiency in English language arts, and only 26% in math. Homeschoolers, in contrast, consistently outperform public school students on standardized tests. Black homeschool children, in particular, score as much as 42 percentile points above their public school counterparts. This bill will intimidate and discourage parents from choosing this much better option for their children. This bill will impose additional burdens on already stretched local schools, police departments, and courts. This bill would require school districts to manage increased administrative tasks related to homeschooling, including data collection, reporting, and potentially enforcing truancy. There are no provisions for additional funding to support these new administrative tasks. Increased truancy enforcement could lead to costly hearings and legal procedures for noncompliance. Again, the bill does not provide for any additional funding to support the added resources needed to enact this regulation. The lack of funding will make robust enforcement on these new regulations virtually impossible, which means that enforcement will be selective. In a system that already surveils, targets, and criminalizes Black and brown people and the poor, I do fear that the brunt of this potential harassment will be borne by homeschooling families who look and live like my own. Study after study has shown that the most important factor in the child's educational outcome is how their parents and family engage in the process. Many of the problems facing our public schools stem from the inability to partner with families, especially under-resourced and underrepresented families, and involve them meaningfully in the education process. As a mother and an educator and community leader, I would rather see this committee spend its valuable time contemplating how to help parents believe in themselves more and be more involved in their children's education than bills like HB 2827 that target and harass the parents who already do. Thank you.